Greetings and welcome back, everyone, to episode 51 of The Angry Chicken, a podcast about Hearthstone, Heroes of Warcraft. I'm Garrett Weinzerl, and I'm joined, as always, by Willie Dills Gregory and Jocelyn Moffat. Guys, welcome back. We are a mere almost a week away from 4 days away from a week away from BlizzCon.
I'm
Crazy.
so stupid excited.
Oh,
Crazy.
I can't wait. It's all I've been like thinking about lately. I just want to go to BlizzCon. I just want to go and go to Disney the day before. Oh, I can't wait.
There's
I
going to be a
know.
lot of Disney in this BlizzCon.
For you guys, yeah, I'm leaving, really soon the day after, so I'm not going to Disney Part 2, Disney Strikes Back. I'm not doing that, like you and Jocelyn are, but yeah.
I've never been. I'm so excited. I've never done it at all. So.
I'm very excited that I get to go to Disneyland with you the first time you're ever going to be to any Disney
that's pretty
ever.
cool.
Because
She's going to want to write It's a Small World over and over again. That's what everyone does the first time they go.
At the moment, it is closed for maintenance, and I'm kind of crossing my fingers and hoping it's closed
is it
when we
really?
get there because I hate that ride so much.
No, it's pretty crappy.
It is such a terrible ride.
I'm
No.
just gonna warn you both right now that I'm probably gonna turn into like a 10-year-old girl. So expect
I pretty much revert to 10-year-old, Garrett when I'm at Disney, and so
Perfect.
I'm all
Great.
for it.
Yeah.
I'm all for it. As long as you're okay riding the Haunted Mansion, because it'll be all Nightmare Before Christmas-ified.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
We got to do the elevator ride or whatever, the haunted elevator.
Tower of Terror.
Yeah, tower.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep,
Yeah.
that.
Also known as the haunted elevator ride.
Haunted elevator ride with the Xylite zone, right? Yeah. No, the
Is Star
Twilight.
Wars open again?
Star-
When I was back, they were revamping it.
Wow, you haven't been there in a while. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
we went 2 years ago and it was reopened.
Okay. The last time I went was with my cousin. He used to work there, so he did the free ticket thing for me then.
Oh, cool.
And you get to like skip past lines and stuff. It's like
Oh.
you even have to.
Wait a minute. I've been with Disney employees many times, and I never got to skip any damn lines.
Didn't we?
No.
Totally did.
We as a matter of
Clearly,
fact,
you didn't just walk up to the line and go, "I'm Dills, move."
That's not how I did it. That is not how I did it. Chad, I don't know. He had some special. My cousin used to do the shows and stuff at Disney World. So
okay.
you'd watch pirates, sing and dance or whatever. That's what he would do.
Yeah,
So,
I went to
Maybe that's some
Disneyland.
special ticket? I don't know. I'm not sure.
That's strange, yeah, because I've been to Disney World with a cast member, and I've been to Disneyland with just employees multiple times.
Well, I think we should at least try to skip all.
Oh, I agree. I really don't want to get kicked out. Is the only thing. 'Cause I'm looking
All right.
forward to it.
Within reason.
But
We also all have to get the stupid Mickey Mouse hats and all that stuff. Gotta get the whole thing going, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. And we need a big. That'll be our cover photo for that week's episode of the show.
Oh, that's perfect.
So, but we're not just excited for Disney. We're also quite excited for BlizzCon. I don't know about you guys, but I was watching the unboxing, unbagging of the BlizzCon goodie bag that was just posted a little bit ago. I think by
I
Wowhead.
did not see this yet.
yeah.
We're getting an awesome like zombie Murloc figure.
Yeah.
And a bunch of other just random goodies. I think we're getting a physical Hearthstone card.
Cool.
And you can actually, there's a fridge magnet that you can put your picture behind and make yourself a Hearthstone card.
Oh, Dizam.
Okay.
I know where my first small wedding photo is going. I know where that's going. Right on the fridge behind a hopefully legendary minion Hearthstone card magnet. That would be most delightful.
Oh, I'm 99% sure it's legendary.
It better be.
Sure.
It better be.
It's common.
Oh, God.
It's a 5/1 with vanilla. It's a terrible card.
Yeah. So yeah. It's rapidly approaching. I for one couldn't be more excited, and I've been missing you guys. We had such a good time at Nerdtacular,
Oh, I know.
and I'm not able to fart in the same room as Dills or.
This time you don't have to
Shower
listen to me
photos?
snoring all night. So
Yeah, take photos in the shower with the creepy large window,
Yep.
or kill a pitcher with Jocelyn while we ignore whatever sport Dills was currently watching in the bar. I'm looking forward to doing all of that again. Except I don't think there'll be really that many sports to watch going on because
Well, the major sports will be done by then. Thankfully.
The ones you care about.
The Giants.
Hockey and football.
Yeah. That one too. That one's still going on.
Yeah.
This one is the major one though. This is the one that really matters. So
Yeah.
And we got two more games at the most. No more games in San Francisco. I will finally maybe get back to a normal life soon. Well, my version of a normal life soon enough.
Dills will be back falling asleep for your entertainment very soon.
Exactly. But yeah, the last 3 weeks has just been insane. My body cannot take much more of it. People in the chat are saying KC in 7. No, that's not going to happen.
No.
Giants are going to win it all. Giants are going to win it all again, and I'm going to freak out. It's gonna be
I hope just for Dills' sake that happens. Anyways,
Even if it doesn't happen, I'll be okay.
We'll be here to support you. You'll always have.
I know I could fall back on you guys no matter what happens.
You'll always have the ill-tempered fowl. Always have that. Well, let's get into this week's Hearthstone news before we spend too much time hyping our own Disney trip that no one else cares about.
Good news, everyone!
Got some news right here at the top of the show that's not actually in the bullet points this week because, the story went up about 40 minutes ago. And I make the overlay an hour before the show, so deal with it. That's Garrett's Photoshop schedule. Anyways, a large round of bot bans apparently has gone out recently. This is over on hearthhead.com. They said that Blizzard has made a short post this afternoon taking action against what they phrase as several thousand Hearthstone accounts found to be botting, which, right, guys, looking at this, you're just like, all right, yeah, cool. That totally sounds like good news. What could anyone possibly have to complain about? Well, they found something because Reddit reports, and this, I guess they posted images and stuff. I find this humorous because I like to think that this was someone who got banned and posted their ban, saying that this initial ban is actually only for a period of 3 months.
Yep.
After which time the botters get their account back. And nothing is taken away from them. They keep everything that they earned through their period of botting, which has quite a few Hearthstone players in an uproar. Not only for most people are just like, no, you should just be permaban, and then the other people, and then on top of that, everyone's just like, wait a minute, they get their crap back too.
Yeah, that's a little crazy.
Yeah,
but I think right now the reason for just doing 3 months is they just want to make sure they're not banning accounts that aren't botting but just seem to be botting. And then suddenly all their crap is gone. You know what I mean? This is the first round of them. They need to be a little bit cautious with this one. So I think they're just figuring out exactly how to go about this and be sure. And then once they're sure, I think we're going to get a more serious penalty.
Well,
which should be.
Damn it, Dills. Why are you being calm and reasonable about this?
Reasonable? I know. You should not scream and yell.
It does not make for sensational stories.
Yeah. It's true. I mean, I should be pissed and it's this is how you should do business, I think. So I was happy to hear that that's how it was going down because, it sucks. It's not that much, but Ben Brode tweeted and he said that's why not reset accounts along with bans allowing people to keep portraits and gain gold cards seems counter to fair play. Ben Brode said that's the plan going forward. So there you go.
Well, hard to. I find it hard to ever disagree with Ben Brode.
No, he's pretty much the most agreeable guy you've ever met.
Even when he comes on the show that you do and tells you he does not personally approve of the ratings you gave some of his cards, you're just like, well, damn it, Ben, you're so charismatic. I guess I'm wrong, and I feel okay about
my account, and I would love him as he was doing it. That's basically how that would go down. Now, have you guys been playing a lot of bots? I've been seeing. Not necessarily more, but I guess I hadn't been playing much Constructed this season, but I had played for a good amount of time the other night, and I probably saw 5 or 6 bots. Clear bots, 100% they were bots.
If I haven't noticed it.
Yeah?
I haven't had anyone that's been rolling a shaman and taking obscene amounts of times between each turn. Like, it's all been fine. I'm sure the people who played me in Arena this week thought I was a bot. Because as we're going to get into strategies here, I wrote down turn for turn.
Oh, wow.
How my things panned out, just in case it came up in question, since my record wasn't stellar with the deck we built last week. No, I didn't come across. I haven't once been playing someone and thought, oh, you're definitely a bot.
Oh, I
Well,
definitely noticed an uptick in it in the last season. I think the October season for me at least was pretty not that bad. I mean, it wasn't like every single person that I played was a bot, but it was definitely noticeable. And every time I logged in, I played against at least one. And it's just kind of like,
At least one game you would get, and it's generally always the shaman. I have seen a couple of what I thought were bots that were playing Zoo, and I've seen a couple that were playing Hunter, but shaman is the most popular. And you can also tell because they play the Sea Giant deck, which is very bizarre because nobody else is really playing that deck. So
Yeah,
But
for me,
it's
it's
not
been
enjoyable to play
shamans.
again.
Yeah, shamans and warlocks doing zoo. Yeah, absolutely. And it's because like even like some of the zoo cards, just like no real person would ever put that in a deck. Like, what are you doing?
It's annoying. It's an annoying game. It's not even that they take forever. It's just every turn is an exact amount of time followed by an exact amount of time, and there's not really any real give and take in the game. It doesn't. It just feels bad. So
And the weird order of plays, like yeah.
And they don't use like the targeting reticule or anything like that.
Yeah.
Which,
But it's I'm just glad something is starting to happen. I know that some people are disappointed at the short length of the ban, but again, the ban is just here. This is the start, and they will eventually be perma bans for this type of activity. You just have to be a little bit patient. You can't expect them to fix everything all at once. They don't want to get this wrong.
yeah, I think it's fine. I agree with you. I agree with your logic and calmness. Also this week, as we're getting closer to BlizzCon, the Hearthstone World Championship groups and casters were announced. So we've got, our 4 groups, Group A through D, all figured out. And I would have to say, just at a glance, if I had to pick one as a group of death, it looks like it's Group D.
It does. Well, just putting Strife Crow and Kalento in the same group is enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's going to be whoever comes out of that group. That's going to be tough. That's going to be rough going.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be waving my Green Sheep flag for Group C.
Yep.
Really hope Green Sheep makes it through. But I'm very much looking forward to this. The casters for the tournament the weekend before BlizzCon, so this is this weekend, will be Artosis, Frodan, Azael, and of course Ben Brode. And I think Reels as well.
Reels, yeah.
Who I always have to remind myself is also now a Team 5 member.
He is, yeah. But no, I'm excited to hear Ben broadcast something.
Yes.
I feel like I watched the it was him and Dodds before Hearthstone ever came out, and they were just playing some games. And that was the last time I think I saw gameplay with him talking over it. Like, it's just been forever.
I just think about the PAX announcement where he did the demo game.
Yeah. So, but we haven't seen him talk about other people playing really, and this is going to be pretty excellent.
Yeah.
And all of these guys are going to be excellent. This is going to be really good.
Yep. As for the tournament during BlizzCon itself, because I believe Artosis will be busy with StarCraft casting, the casters will be different. It will be Nimsh, Frodan, Amaz, Reels, and that's Admirable, with DJ Wheat and Rachel Seltzer doing interviews in between with players. I'm excited to see DJ Wheat do some Hearthstone stuff because he's a big name in StarCraft, and I'm a big fan of his.
Yeah, a lot of StarCraft crossover.
Oh, absolutely. Our writer Tash said that he thought it was interesting to see Hearthstone pro players taking casting duties so early into Hearthstone's esports lifetime because this was not the case in StarCraft. It was way down the road that you started seeing pro players casting.
Well, I think they learned a lot, right?
Play. Yeah. But I think in StarCraft, though, if you concentrate on casting, you basically take yourself out of the game as a player, right? Because you have to practice so much in that game.
Yeah, either or, yeah. The practicing to play is a pain in the butt, and it's hard to be a good caster for StarCraft. There's a lot going on.
But I feel like you can do, like, just thinking about Hearthstone a lot, watching games, that still is preparing you a little bit, Right. So you're not necessarily out of the pro player game because you're casting.
And it's not like StarCraft where it's like, oh my God, in the northeast corner we have a drop while a nuke is being dropped over in the west, and in the south, holy shit, those banelings completely took out all of those Marines. That doesn't happen in Hearthstone. You're not just like, in this corner that you can't see, this is happening, because that doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
a little easier for the spectators and the casters.
But I feel like the some of the best casters are definitely the guys who put. I mean, Frodan's been amazing because he just kind of he's the gift of gab guy. He can talk really well, and he knows the game very well as well. But that's admirable. Or like when I've seen Reels cast or Savit's cast, like these guys, they talk through the exact mentality they have while they're playing. And that's really what you want to hear in a game of Hearthstone. I think you want to get inside the mind of what a pro player might be looking at, what moves they would be considering, and why they would or would not consider certain moves. So these guys are going to be fantastic.
Yep, looking forward to it. Also, before we get out of news, the November cardback has been data mined. It's not an official release, but it looks like some gnomish engineering going on here.
Yeah, this looks
totally
pretty...
Goblin.
Oh, is it Goblin? Looks like Gnomergon to me.
Well, they're very similar.
Well, what's the difference between Goblin engineering and Gnomish? I guess I'm an idiot when it comes to that.
I guess
they both like blow up in your face sometimes, right?
I feel like gnomes are more based around like shrinking your ass and teleporting you places, and goblins are more about like rockets and gunpowder.
Sure. Okay.
I don't know.
This seems to have some sort of a rockety type thing to it, though, doesn't it? Like there's
I think Goblin
like
is supposed to be a little bit more like thrown together, where Gnomish is supposed to be a little bit more polished.
Okay,
all right. This looks, I think this looks pretty thrown together.
You are the lore nerd on this show. We don't have Terpster, so we're going to defer to you, Jocelyn.
Jocelyn is the Terpster of the Angry Chicken. We just found that out today. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'd say you're the more pretty Terpster, but Terpster's a very pretty man.
He's a very pretty man.
I mean, people.
Have you ever hugged Terpster and held him close? It's hard to let go. That's all I'm saying.
Oh man!
Someone isolate that audio and auto tune it and make it into some kind of love ballad for Terpster. I'd appreciate it.
Hey, please do.
Yeah.
Something I can fall asleep to. Sweet dreams at night. All right, sorry.
Anyways, I still can't wait for my Halloween card back, even though I'm getting it the day after Halloween. But that's
I think that's one of my favorites so far. This one I can kind of take it or leave it, but I'm not a huge fan of the goblin stuff anyway.
Yeah, I don't like the short races. Goblins, gnomes, they're.
I'm okay with the
on dwarves.
The gnomes, though, no.
Dwarves post patch in World of Warcraft, I think they're dope as hell looking. Beforehand, man, they looked rough. They looked very rough. Anywho's, that more or less wraps it up for this week's news. Let's talk some strategy.
Hit it very hard.
Wanna blow something up? Time to pay.
So we were asked many times in many different ways that you can talk at us how the arena run went last week.
Yeah, people wanted to know. People wanted to see it in action. Did you stream any of it after the original?
After the after show last week? No.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, okay.
No,
but you went like 4-1 in the after show, right?
No, we only
3-1 or something.
We went 2-1. We only played 3 games.
2-1. Yeah, we played 3
2-1.
We played 3 games. So for those who don't know, if you only listen to the podcast, we do an after show that is the patrons get it the same day as the regular show. And then a week later, it goes up on the YouTube for everyone. It doesn't get in the audio feed. So if you're not over on youtube.com/StarcastShow and subscribed, you should do that because there's extra content over there from this show. And the first 3 games played with this deck are up. Will go up later this week for everyone. But if you're a patron, you can see it right now. So go check that out. But that being said, I ended up going 5-3, which I was not totally stoked about. I lost my first game. As Dills can attest, I don't know how to play with Venture Co. Mercenary. It's a card I
was
never
actually
pick.
watching as I was preparing my second show, and I had to jump back on the call.
Dills just like re-entered the call and was just like, "What are you doing, you idiot?"
Like turn 5, you had a Venture Co. in your hand and you didn't play it, and I feel like you were gonna win game 1 if you had made that move. I don't know for sure, obviously, but I feel like if you'd thrown a 7-6 on the board. On turn 5, you had a pretty good shot. So I after that's what I ended up doing almost every turn 5 from there on, and it worked like wonders. Yeah.
I've completely come around on the Venture Co. Merc. You're completely right. I'm sorry for ever doubting you.
Well, he's tricky because you look at him and you think, oh, Dai's the big game hunter. He has this terrible drawback to him. This card isn't very good. But in practice, he's a 7/6 that hits the board way earlier than a 7/6 should be able to hit the board. And the drawback doesn't hurt you that much because oftentimes he pulls all the removal out and they end up killing him, or they don't, and you have a 7/6 on board, and you play one creature maybe or something, and it's just, the drawback is not as bad as having a 7/6 on the board. So in that sense, that's why he's such a good card. But it looks weird. And it's also a little bit scary because if you do play against a paladin and, they make him follow the rules or humility him, then all of a sudden he sucks real bad. So
yeah. Although, I mean, granted, his making causing minions to cost more still is a detriment to your opponent, regardless, even if he does give him one attack.
Yeah.
But then I guess you're both on equal footing at that point.
No. That only affects you.
Oh.
It's not like the like the 2/2 that makes it so both guys, whatever. It only affects you.
Okay.
But
Gotcha. Again, showing how much I have played with the Adventure Co-Merc.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I thought it was universal too.
You never see him in constructed, so unless you're an arena player, you're like, yeah, this card sucks.
And even I played plenty of arena, and I've had plenty of good runs, but I always avoided the Venture Co-Merc.
Yeah.
But
anyway. And he's a card I don't pick over. Like, let's say he's up against the Boulderfist Ogre. I go Ogre every time, but in the cases where you picked him, he was up against some fairly weak cards. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I ended up with 2 in the deck, which was just I never would have went that route if we weren't having the discussion on the show that we had last week.
By the way, how did people like that? I noticed you guys.
We did a straw poll, and it was like 92% for and 8% against, and I think we had
it's further down in the notes, guys. Come on.
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry.
It's fine.
Spoilers.
Yeah, we had some people saying they didn't think it worked that great in audio format, but we had a lot more saying that they loved it. Please do more of it.
Okay.
That being said, we're still only going to do it when it's slow news weeks.
Yeah.
This week could have been a slow news week, but we wanted to talk about the results of the deck, so we decided.
There's going to be slow news weeks in this game from time to time. But that's just how it's going to be.
It's not going to be a regular thing. And then those of you who are Magic fans and listen to my favorite Magic podcast were like, it's like Crack-a-Pack. Where do you think I got the idea? That's all I'm going to say. I was like, there's got to be a Hearthstone equivalent to this. I'm like, well, it's pretty much just drafting arena.
Yeah.
So, there we go. Anywho, let's talk about what happened. Went 5-3, not a great record. Definitely could have done much better. I had some tough losses. So let's talk about a loss. Then we'll talk about a win that I want to discuss, and then we'll talk about my final loss. We're not going to talk about the first loss. It was completely operator error. I just sucked. So that being said, let's talk about my second loss, which was against a warrior, and so I'm curious to get both of your opinions here. So I wrote it down step by step. So in my opening hand, I had 2 Stormforged Axes, a Rockbiter, and a Hex.
Ooh, that's a rough opening hand.
Yeah, yeah. So on turn 2, the warrior, my opponent, played a Fiery War Axe. I had the Totem on turn 2. On turn 3, he played a Bloodsail Raider, which was a 5/3 because of the weapon, and then a Dread Corsair, which is a 3/3 taunt because it was
for 0 mana.
0 mana because of the weapon.
Or for 1 mana?
One mana.
One mana.
Yeah.
1 mana.
Okay.
So that sucked. Let's see, would he have had a coin for that? I don't think he would have. No. No, because I had the coin.
Because he played turn 2 Fiery War Axe.
Yep.
This was turn 3.
Yep. And then, so I'm just like, oh, this sucks. So on turn 3, I dropped an Unbound Elemental. I played coin, and then I Rockbiter to remove the Corsair. So took 3 damage to my face, but I just felt like I had to try and get some traction. And then on turn 4, he dropped a Kor'kron Elite. He removed the Unbound. The Elite lived with 1 health, and then he hit me for 5 with the Raider. Turn 4, I hexed the Raider. Turn 5, he proceeded to Arcanite Reaper and just go to my face. Turn 5, I played Ventrico, and turn 6, he Argent Defendered on the 4/1 Elite, giving him the exact 10 damage to kill me on turn 6.
Well, there you go.
So, do you mean Defender of Argus?
Yeah, what did I say?
Okay.
I
was like, Argent Defender. Like, which one is he talking about?
I'm getting my defenders with A's.
So
mixed up.
So this is one of those games against the Warrior that you're just going to lose because when they play within 6 turns they play 2 weapons. That's how warriors win in arena.
Yeah, it was an exceptionally aggressive warrior deck.
Yeah,
and also for him to have the Bloodsail Raider and the Dread Corsair in his hand with an axe on turn 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had to actually look them up because I was like, wait a minute, pirates.
This is essentially like a perfect draft for warrior.
It's like the Husky deck if it worked.
Yes.
Well, that kind of deck does work in arena because you're not playing against carefully constructed decks. You're playing against random decks.
Exactly.
So Bloodsail Raider is a great card when you're picking warrior. It's a 2/3 at its worst. Dread Corsair is a fine card in a warrior deck, especially if you already have some weapons, because you're basically getting a pretty weak minion, but if you can play it for 1 mana or 0 mana, then it's awesome. Corcoran Elite's obviously a good card. Arcanite Reaper, that's 10 damage for 5 mana. And then Defender of Argus, okay, sure. Yeah, this was just, you just got completely owned.
Guy had a stellar opening hand. It was just tough.
There was nothing you could have done there.
Sucked so hard. Okay, cool.
Yeah. This is just a guy getting the sick opening, and just that's what happens sometimes.
I had multiple motives for including my losses today. One, to defend myself against people who are like 5-3, you suck, and 2, because I'm genuinely curious if you thought I could do anything different. However, I want to talk about a win real quick. Of which
you could have had a better opening hand. That's what you could have done.
Yes. And that was after mulliganing, and I'm pretty sure it was like 5 and 6 drops in my hand when I mulliganed.
Yeah. Having both Stormforged axes in your opening hand is terrible because essentially you're never going to be able to use all the charges up in time for one to just not be a dead card for a significant amount of time.
No. I mean, once you use up those first 3 charges, it's like 2 damage plus taking damage to your face past turn 5 in a best case scenario if you get it out on turn 2. It's unlikely to kill a lot of things, and you're going to take a lot of damage in the process.
Yep.
So it's kind of painful. It's still good to take 2 Stormforged axes because you
just get unlucky to have both.
Yeah, you enhance your chances of drawing one, and it's a great card for having 1 in your opening hand.
Yeah.
Anywho, let's talk about a win I had against a warrior because specifically, there's just one turn I wanted to mention to you guys. On turn 5 against this warrior, he had just played an Arathi Weaponsmith. So he had got a 2/2 weapon, and he had I forget the stats of Arathi weapons. A 3/3 on board. Yeah. I had a 3/5 Unbound on board, and I couldn't decide whether to just trade with the Weaponsmith with my Unbound, bringing him down to 2, and probably just having him die next turn to the axe. But I decided that going aggressive was the route. So I lava bursted his face and swung for 4 because it buffed my Unbound.
Yeah, I mean that works because essentially you take it out of range of the combination of the body and the weapon that he got from that. So if those are the only minions on board, then, and if you feel like you're kind of in beatdown mode, then I'm totally fine with that move. If you aren't quite in beatdown mode yet, you could also lava burst face and then trade because now he's got 3 health. You're Unbound.
Yeah.
So you're still trading, but you're just getting him out of range of the weapon swing after the 3/3.
Yeah.
If you just leave him as a 3/5, then it's just you're getting like a 1-for-1. Well, like a 1 for a half a 1 almost, or 2/3 of a card essentially. So yeah, I think either way, like if you lava burst face and trade, or you lava burst creature and go face with the 4/6, either one is okay. And I think what you did is also okay.
Okay.
So it really just depends on what part of the game you're in. If you're in the late game and you already have a health lead and you have plenty of cards left over, if the Lava Burst is the only card left in your hand and he's got 5 cards, you probably want to clear the board. You want to keep some sort of tempo, but
Yeah, up until that point, it had just been control mode. He dropped a Loot Hoarder in turn 1 and 2, which I Stormforged off both of them. Then he did like a Mad Bomber plus a Leper Gnome, and I did an Unbound plus a Fork Lightning. And that was the Unbound that was on board with as a buff to a 3/5.
So this is kind of like early-ish game then, right?
Yeah.
Turn 5.
Okay.
And that I just realized that I noticed that on turn 5, I was like, I'm not sure what I want to do here. And I was like, I think I just want to get aggressive here. So I was curious, and I wanted to bring that up because I thought it was a decent highlight from the run.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to turn on the aggression, you just want to make sure that the hand you have can back that up. It's always, I think, safer to play the board control game in the early game. There comes a time where you have to start hitting the face, though, and that's one thing I notice some players will do is they play too safe the whole way.
Right.
Constantly clearing the board, never getting any face damage in. And you get to turn 8 or 9, the guy's at full health. You haven't done a thing, And yeah, you've got the board clear, but one AoE could potentially wipe out all that work you've done. So a lot of times you do just want to go face when you can, when you have a good opportunity to. And it sounds like a decent opportunity right there.
Cool. Very cool. Well, let's talk about the last loss then.
All right.
It was against a rogue. My opening hand was a Stormpike Commando, which I was not stoked about. And a Oasis Snapjaw, was not stoked about. Direwolf Alpha, which after seeing the Commando and the Snapjaw, I'm like, oh, at least it'll buff a totem.
Sure.
A Fork Lightning, a coin, and then I drew a Lightning Bolt. A little bit of control, and then the cards that I'm not using for a while. So the Rogue opened up with a Pint-Sized Summoner on their turn 2. I ended up just toteming. On turn 3, the Rogue played an Injured Blade Master and removed my totem.
Okay, hold on. I think I already can point out why you lost this game.
Already?
Okay.
Yeah, because you should have just lightning bolted the pint-sized summoner. Like that card is, even now in its nerf state, too dangerous to leave alive if
With
you
a Fork Lightning in your hand, knowing it'll kill
Yeah.
the summoner and
No,
probably
because the
whatever
problem
he
is
plays.
because on the next turn he can play something like a Senjin Shield Master, which you cannot Fork Lightning. He makes the next card cost 1 less. Suddenly, you
Well,
have a
even
4-drop
in
on
that
turn
case,
3.
at least then the Fork Lightning brings Ascension Shield Master in range of another removal spell or a weapon.
Yeah, but I don't know. At this point, I think you start to fall. You start to play the get snowballed game when you leave something like a pint-sized summoner up on turn 2 with a way to kill it. That's I mean, I understand like taking it slow, but that's a card that I still say just kill that thing.
Okay.
Just kill it.
That was definitely
Like, it's almost an Undertaker status where it's like just kill it.
Okay. All right. Because this was the turn, much like the previous when I was talking about the win against the Warrior when I was on that turn 5 where I couldn't decide if I wanted to get aggressive or not. This turn 2 with the pint-sized summoner, I was like, do I really want to lightning bolt this thing off? Because it's guaranteed going to die to my Fork Lightning.
Yeah.
And that's what I was sitting there, and I opted for the greedy route.
Yeah.
It's like, I want to get something with my Fork Lightning.
I think the problem there too, though, is again like also Fork Lightning gives a 2 overload, whereas I would rather just overload for 1 right now, get rid of it, and then when I decide that I have to overload with this, I would rather do it like later. Overloading for 1 on turn 2 is a lot better, I think, than overloading for 2 on turn 3, and then go into turn 4 with only 2 mana.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
People in the chat are saying, according to Amaz, little girls are scary and must die.
He clearly has played a lot of BioShock.
Yeah, Pint-Sized Summoner used to be insane, but it's still a threat.
Not a
I'll say
terrible.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So then on turn 3,
It's
he
not
got.
insane, but it's a threat.
Yeah. So on turn 3, he dropped an Injured Blade Master and removed my healing totem with the summoner.
Okay.
So-
So see, there you go. He plays a 4-drop on turn 3. That's,
Right.
Yeah.
A problem. So on turn 3, I played my Unbound and I coined out the Fork, which brought the Blade Master down to 1 and killed the summoner and buffed my Unbound.
Yeah, so now he's a 3-5?
Yeah, 3/5 against a 4/1.
Mm-hmm.
But then turn 4, he shivved plus traded the Blade Master for my Unbound and just daggered up. Turn 4, I was overloaded, so I just healing totem. Hey, what you were talking about, Dills? Don't overload for 2 on turn 3 if you can help it.
Yeah.
Got a healing totem. On turn 5, he played an Anubar Ambusher and a South Sea Deckhand, and since he had a dagger up, the South Sea Deckhand, the 2/1, had charge.
Wow.
So he killed the healing totem.
Yeah.
And as we go along, this deckhand lives way too long. Turn 5, I healing totem plus hex the ambusher.
Okay.
Turn 6, he dropped a spectral knight, and his deckhand killed my healing totem again.
Yeah, his deckhand is essentially like his totem
Totem
smasher
removal,
from this
yeah.
on out. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just wasn't rolling stone skins, or not stone skins.
Fire?
Yeah, the 1/1.
totem.
The 1/1, yeah.
No, not a flame tug. Flame tug's the 0/3 that
No,
gives
I
plus
said
2.
flame totem or whatever it's called.
Yeah,
Searing totem.
Searing totem.
is the 1/1, yeah.
Yeah. On turn 6, I played a Yeti, and I totem up getting a stone skin. So I was like, okay, Yeti and a taunt. I'm getting back into this. Then on turn 7, he crazed Alchemist plus eviscerated my Yeti. Then he deckhanded off the totem. Then he daggered my face, and then he spectral knighted my face.
And I assume the Spectral Knight lives a long time, too.
Yeah. Well, it's a spectral knight against
Yeah.
a shaman.
Unless you can get a minion to stick, you have no way to get rid of it. So
yeah, it was getting bad. Turn 7, commandoed off his deckhand. Then I lightning bolt off the alchemist. On his turn 8, he Thrallmar Farseered plus Partitions Bladed off my commando, and then he swung with the blade and the knight for 6 damage. On turn 8, my Kodo killed the freaking frog from my hex instead of the Farseer.
of course it did.
Because, thank you, Hearthstone God. To which he answered with on his turn 8 with a Sun Cleric on his knight, making it a 5/7. It then killed the Kodo, then the Farseer killed the totem, and then hit me for 2. And at this point, I was getting frustrated. So on turn 8, I threw my Alakir down to get the knight down to 1, kill the Farseer, and then I bolted off the Cleric.
Okay.
Turn 9, he sprinted. He eviscerated off my Alakir and played a Abusive Sergeant to buff the knight and attack me for 7 to my face. And then turn 9, I just rolled the totem, got the taunt that I wanted, played my Direwolf next to it, and a Snapjaw since the knight was down to 1 health, and then I crossed my fingers. And then on turn 2, he activated what I like to call Dick Mode.
And the BM.
Yeah, and
were you playing against Dills by any chance?
It felt like it. Then he sapped my stone skin, assassinated the Snapjaw, sapped my wolf, cold-blooded, gloated, and won the game.
All right. So I'm just going to point this out because I'm activating Dick Mode right now as well.
I lost on turn 2.
You didn't kill the pint-sized summoner with your lightning bolt. And then later, you lightning bolted a crazed alchemist instead. So you didn't use the lightning bolt on that guy because you wanted to hold it, and then what did you end up using it on? Another 2/2 that had no more ability to be done. So this is like one of those things where, it's like sometimes in arena there's like people make a greedy play. I see Trump do this all the time. He's like, I'm gonna make a greedy play here. I'm gonna take it slow, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, I'm gonna lose now. And it's like. You just kind of got to take situations as they come, and it's hard to assess situations on turn 2. With 100, like obviously, like we can look back on this game, we can like outright see the snowball effect, but in the moment, it's not as easy to see.
And that's why I did the serial killer thing and logged my games line by line.
It does seem a little obsessive.
Because I was just like, this might be interesting to talk about on the show, and if it's a slow news week, it'll give us something to talk about.
Good.
And
this is a great
lesson for anybody who's trying to play arena is should I lightning bolt the 2/2 on turn 1 if it's and yes, if it's a pint-sized summoner, yes. If it's an undertaker, if it's a pint-sized summoner, if it's anything that's going to cause a long-term threat, just get rid of that thing ASAP if you can.
Fair enough. Will you, at the very least, and maybe Jocelyn, maybe you can just be sympathetic and make me feel better.
Of course,
at least
I will.
Agree with me that having a fork lightning in your hand with anything on the other board that's 2 health is a trap that is easy to fall into.
It's definitely easy to fall into. I don't know if I would have made the same choice just because it was the summoner. And I mean, really, with it making each minion cost 1 less each turn, it almost seems like giving your opponent a coin every turn, which everyone talks about how OP the coin is. Like, why would you want a minion there that's just like, here, coins, more coins? Like,
yeah, so. It gives you one mana essentially every single turn as long as it's there. But so that's the other thing too you have to assess is if I leave this up because my reasoning behind it is I have this forked lightning. You also have to think about, well, if I leave this up, what's the next minion going to look like? Is it going to be, it's not going to be a 3-drop or a 2-drop. It's going to be a 4-drop. And how likely is a 4-drop going to only have 2 health? And it's very unlikely a 4-drop is going to have 2 health. So that's the other thing you gotta consider in that situation. So,
but I can definitely see your reasoning.
Yeah. And if it was, say, like if it was just a vanilla 3/2, right? Like if it's the Raptor, that's like a totally sound plan. But the fact that it's something that's going to make the other minions cheaper, like a Knife Juggalo, a pint-sized summoner, and an Undertaker, like use the lightning bolt, but you're not going to get much better.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, you'll be proud of me. I lightning bolted off every single juggler I saw.
It's like what it's there for. Like the cards you just read kill knife jugglers, you know.
Yeah. Well, all right then. So hopefully this was educational for some folks.
Yeah, we should definitely get together and do more arena stuff. Like we haven't done a video in a while, and we should get together and do some more of that kind of stuff.
Absolutely, because there's totally not a bunch of things on the horizon that are going to be sucking hours of our life away.
Plenty of time.
We're not busy.
Yeah, we don't have a big, convention that is the biggest event for the game that we cover all year, or another event that we haven't announced yet, but that we're working on, and it's totally a time vampire. Nothing like that.
No.
But I do see a lot more people, or a lot less people, putting out arena content these days, because I think a lot of people played a lot of arena early on, trying to get the cards, you know, and now a lot of people have the cards, and now everyone's in the constructed world, and you're just headlong in that one. So I think there's room now. There's still a lot of players coming in, players who don't have all the cards. They could definitely benefit from some arena stuff.
Awesome. Well, get out there and play some limited Hearthstone, folks. It's fun. The tweets have been wonderful this week, by the way. People are just like, oh man, I've got a couple gold heroes and I've never touched arena. You guys are just making me want to play it so bad. And I'm just like, yes, feed.
Yeah, it's good to know that that when we do this show, that actually gets people excited to play this game, because if it didn't, then we'd be doing something very wrong.
Again, we kind of talked. I think we talked about last week how it would be really just concerning if we did this show and there was nobody listening on the other end.
Yeah.
Honey, what are you doing?
Enough anyway.
I'm recording myself talking at the same time every week for a specific amount of time.
This is my audio journal.
That's nice. Slowly closes the door and wonders why she said yes to marrying me. Okay, let's take some crazy game stories.
All right.
The whole world gone crazy.
You're in trouble now.
You got it!
You can send your crazy game stories to tacpodcast@gmail.com. Our first today comes to us from Morn, who writes, Random Decks for the win! Howdy, Clucksters. So my buddy and I have begun playing random decks against each other, and crazy fun times have ensued. However, this is where it got crazy. By the way, if you're just now tuning in, we do a thing on the show called Random Decks, where we select a hero, we exit out of making the hero's deck. It says, would you like to complete this deck? You hit yes, and then you play against your friend with whatever the computer decided to give you as a deck.
Which is generally terrible, but oftentimes
yes, generally, and always in Jocelyn's favor, no matter what happens.
I whooped her pretty good.
Actually, yeah, no, he beat me down pretty good at an extra life.
If you have the Garrett Weinzerl debuff, it is always in Jocelyn's favor.
Although we did a best of 5 too, a serious one, and Jocelyn had me on the ropes in that contest.
Yeah, that was really close.
Nice.
I was so sad.
It's because Jocelyn knows how to properly execute eye for an eye.
Yeah,
she knows how to pull it off.
She did play eye for eye
against
me in one of the random games, and it was the highlight of the chat room's experience.
Oh, I bet it was. Anyways, Morgan continued. He said, however, this is where it got crazy. He had control most of the game, and I briefly took control to get him down to 5 health. He then managed to clear my board, dropped a Molten Giant, a couple other cheap minions, and a Frost Wolf Warlord. I get some Spirit Wolves down and a Stoneclaw Totem, praying... Stoneclaw?
Yeah.
What's a Stoneclaw Totem?
Isn't that the taunt one?
Because that's a Stone Skin Totem.
Stone Skin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stone whatever.
I'm just like, is there a Stoneclaw Totem I'm not aware of?
Yes, Garrett, you've been playing Shaman all wrong.
Stoneclaw Totem.
Hey, man, I don't play Totemic Might.
I'm pretty sure it is Stoneclaw Totem.
So I get confused when I see it.
No, it's Garrett. It is Stoneclaw Totem.
You're sure?
There's a Stone Skin Gargoyle, but there is a Stoneclaw Totem.
Oh, my God. My life has been a lie this entire time. This is like freaking vultures and Vikings in StarCraft. I've been saying it wrong for so long, and I found out I was wrong on a podcast.
It's cool, Stone Skin, Stone Claw. Hey, man.
Stone whatever.
Tomato, tomato.
All right. Anyway, he said he got down to his Spirit Wolves and his Stone Claw Totem.
Yes.
Praying it would keep me alive just long enough to finish him off. Out of cards, out of the cards, I'm assuming he would meant. He happens to top deck a wind speaker on his Molten Giant, uses his other minions to get through the taunts, and chunks 16 health off of my face, putting me down to 3. And then I got a top deck I had completely forgot made it into this deck. Deathwing. I started to laugh my ass off and proceed to tell my buddy that he's going to hate me as I slammed Deathwing on the board with an evil grin on my face. I basked in the moment and gloated with him over Vent before finally ending my turn. He had already accepted his defeat and was telling me good game when he suddenly cut his words short with a fit of laughter. Next thing I see is a reckless Rocketeer drop on the board, whip around my Deathwing, and finish me off. Lesson learned. Games are never in the bag, sewed up, or over until someone reaches 0 health. Love the show and keep up the great work. That was delightful. There were twists and turns at every bend.
I know, right?
Jocelyn had a Deathwing game against me as well. She thought that she had won, and nope.
Yeah. Well, I did end up winning because of your misclick.
Oh, that's right, because I accidentally attacked Deathwing with my Fiery War Axe instead of your face. That's right. Now I remember.
Man, I cannot believe I've been thinking. I'm seriously losing my mind. This is not called Stone Skin Toad.
Stone Claw.
Man,
Yeah,
seriously,
I know.
I've been in the dark and you've shown me the light. This is ridiculous.
Mornash is actually in the chat and said I looked it up specifically so I could submit it and wouldn't have Garrett make fun of me. Well, you almost avoided Garrett making fun of you, but at least this time, sweet revenge is yours.
Yeah.
You get to make fun of me more, and you get to make fun of me. This is a great story, man. Dills, you want to take the next one?
Sure. This is Matt, and it's titled "It's 50-50." Okay, I like this one already.
It's pandering. This is.
Says he was a warrior, I was a mage. Oh God, could I make it any more obvious? That's actually not the next line, but
that would have been great if it was.
Board state: his side clear, my side Sorcerer's Apprentice and a mere entity in play. We're both top decking. He plays rag. I get a free rag. His rag hits my apprentice. I hit his face with a fireball. My rag kills his rag. He plays a minion. I sheep it, ping it. My rag hits face. He faces my rag. His new rag hits my face. I play mirror image. My free rag kills his second rag. He rage quits. Rag games are always really fun, by the way. That's from Matt H, the patron guy. And they're not really fun when you're playing like a competitive game and you're watching like a big tournament and it all comes down to what does the rag hit. But when you're just messing around and you're just playing and you get into these crazy games where multiple people get Ragnaros, that's tons of fun. I like it.
This email should have been titled Ragnaros Pong.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna put that out there.
That would have been
actually good. So Corlin and Saban always talk to me about how they play this game Rag Roulette, where you can never actually kill the rags with conventional methods, but all the decks are basically just built around, playing Ragnaros and somehow getting more Ragnaroses on the board. And they're just letting Rag decide the game.
That's actually really awesome.
All the faceless manipulators and duplicates you can fit into a deck.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Delightful. So yeah, clearly Mage is the way to play it because you can get mirror entities, you can copy their rags. You can,
Yeah.
It's get Walker Cho's going, get some extra duplicates happening.
It's tournament viable, man.
Yeah, I'm sure you can take this to the top at BlizzCon. Yep.
I want to see somebody try.
That would either be a really slow or really fast game. Just especially if you're playing duplicated rags. That's 8 mana. That's your turn every turn, like pretty much. Anywho, let's round out the show with some emails.
Hello.
Hello, it's me.
Hello.
Just quickly, do you get my message?
Yep.
Oh.
Hello, brother.
You can also send your emails to tacpodcast@gmail.com. But first, Jocelyn, chat room wants to know, are you drinking straight whiskey?
No, not right this second. It's just beer.
It's just beer. Oh, okay. All right. Well, there you go. The question has been answered.
Yes,
I
normally
not
do.
Right this second. Yeah, normally she does. She will be later, I'm sure.
Yes.
But for right now, just beer.
Just
you
beer.
guys.
TEC's
over.
over.
Gotta take it easy.
Pour the whiskey. I want to pop champagne at BlizzCon for no reason at all. Just
sure.
We totally should.
I'm gonna pop champagne in either tomorrow night or the night after. So I'll keep it going.
It's not as special.
Well, I'm doing. Yeah, it is because I'm gonna be doing it for the Giants.
No, I meant then at BlizzCon, it's not as special.
Oh, that's
if
different
you've done it within the
champagne.
last week.
That's Angry Chicken Champ. I've done it like 7 times in the last
Do
week.
we
What are you
think-
talking about?
Do
Is
we
it special every time?
Every time it gets more special than the time before.
Do you think the bowling alley will have champagne?
If they don't, then it's BYO champagne.
If you can shoot the cork down the alley and actually knock a pin over, your drinks are on me for the rest of the night. But no weighted corks. You can't cheat.
All right.
So there you
No
go.
cheating.
Anyways, our first email today comes to us from Josh, who wrote, "Well met. I just listened to episode 50 and wanted to mention how much I enjoyed the Arena Draft segment. It was very informative and educational, but I really appreciated the different point of view and arguments that each of you offered when drafting the cards. There are countless videos of a single person arena drafting over a couple minutes simply stating which card is best, but having 3 seasoned players debate the merits of each card at each stage of the process was a refreshing take on arena drafting. I hope this is something that is added to each podcast, or at the very least, at some point, you're willing to tackle the other classes to discuss the merits of their class cards in Arena. That said, good luck, Garrett. Hope you let us know how things worked out. Well, I did, even without any fire elementals or epileptic seizure storms. P.S. Thanks to all 3 of you. Thanks for all you 3 do to make our Mondays, Tuesdays a bit better. Much appreciated. Words are hard.
Cannot sentence. Yeah. You got this.
I was not programmed to love."
But you got there in the end. You got there. We figured it out. I feel better about that.
Thank you for your kind words, Josh. I didn't notice you put this one in the show notes today, Jocelyn. I actually read this in the inbox earlier, and I was just like, "Oh, kind words, kind words." I'm glad you liked
We
it.
get a lot of emails that were pro arena drafting.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there is a disclaimer here. What's this all about?
It is, because there were some emails. I didn't want everyone to think, oh, well, clearly she just picked it because it was saying they did a good job. Like, almost all of the emails that we got were, yay, arena segment. But there were a few that said they didn't enjoy it, but the reason was always that it didn't work so well in audio only. So the VODs
So
are
those
up on
people just
YouTube.
need to tune in
Yeah.
live then. That sounds like their fault to me.
Well, they don't even have to tune in live. They can get it on YouTube as well after the fact. So I really think that you guys should check that out.
We tried very hard, and we even talked about it before we went live.
Yeah, how is this going to
To
work?
keep it as audio friendly as humanly possible.
Yeah.
We clearly did not have enough time to talk about all 3 cards for 30 picks in a row. So
we did pretty well at that. I thought
we did pretty
covered
well,
the
yeah.
merits.
we knocked it out in
each-
about 40 minutes, I think, was the final runtime on that. And I think we did a good job. And if there was a duplicate card, like if we were picking the second Venture Code Mercenary, for example, we didn't spend that much more time on the card.
Yeah.
And I think that we also didn't spend a whole lot of time on the more popular cards, but we did explain the cards that you don't see as often. So
Yeah. Like, for me, I learned a lot about Venture Co. this week. I learned something. So
But it is a segment that's not going to translate 100% to just audio only, and most of our show does translate very well. So I definitely appreciate the fact that it might not have been perfect for that format, but hopefully, if you didn't like it there, what you did do is skip over it, enjoy the rest of the show, and then maybe go home later and pop on the YouTube version and just check it out there later.
all that being said, again, it was clearly a larger majority of people that enjoyed it than didn't.
Yeah.
oh yeah, because the straw
it'll
poll
happen
did
again.
come out at I think 92% of people enjoyed it. There was like 6 people that didn't. So
Yeah, exactly. And then some of you were talking to us on Twitter, and I really appreciate the feedback. No one was like a jerk about it. Like no one was just like, it just sucks and you should feel bad. Like everyone was like, well, I feel like it didn't work for this reason, or I feel like it did work because I learned this. And so thank you guys for the constructive feedback. I really appreciate that kind of
it.
stuff.
Yeah, so much feedback. It was fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyways, Dills, next email.
This is from Sean. It says, hey guys, since obviously people at Blizzard listen to your podcast, I was hoping you could ask this very simple question. Why do they not allow player-to-player chats in-game, non-BattleNet friends? I'm sure it would be simple to engineer since chatting to BattleNet friends is already turned on in-game. Being able to communicate with your opponent would add a sorely missing social aspect to the game. Yes, of course, there would be D-bag Carls that would do nothing but talk trash, but that is easily remedied by a squelch button like they already have for emotes. Better yet, make it a chat option. Chat to opponents that can be turned on or off. If you are interested in this additional level of communication, it's there for you. If you prefer to not chat, turn it off. It would be such an easy change that I understand why that I don't understand why it's not already in there. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this as well. I know I would love to be able to communicate more with my opponents. I think we've covered this quite a bit on this show, that this is just a conscious decision Blizzard made to essentially limit the amount of chatting that goes on between characters to cut down on some of the toxicity of video game player bases, which can get pretty bad.
And I think another large portion is the fact that this was designed from the ground up to be a tablet game.
Yeah.
And there's really not a whole lot of space for that, or an easy, I think, an elegant way to work that into the UI.
No, it would be on a tablet. It would be popping up, a keyboard every time, and currently the tablet version of typing isn't great either. I don't know if you guys have noticed that, but it's a little bit funky.
Okay. I mean, again, I'm sure I've mentioned this, put this image into people's heads many times. When I'm on my tablet, I'm generally in my boxers, laying in bed, and I'm already relaxed, so I don't really care about how fast I can respond to you. It's like, It's fine. This message will get there when it gets there. I'm getting tired. What should I do this turn?
I do see his point, though, that it's at this point you could just offer it as an option. And
I like the idea of an option, which I don't think that we'd actually covered before, is having the ability to turn it off. I wouldn't want to be in a situation like StarCraft, for example, where it's like people can always just talk to you and yell at you and be jerks. Like if I don't want to talk to people, I want to be able to turn that off. So I like the option idea.
Yeah, I would not be against that at all. That being said, it's not something that I'm sorely missing and that I need to be in the game. So
and I
far,
think he's kind of also, I think he's kind of also underestimating the amount of debag Carls in the world, because we get a lot of emails every week asking us to just talk about like
people friending
them after the game and saying really mean things. And we get a lot of those emails. So I think it's a more prevalent problem than you're kind of realizing. So if you could turn it off, that would be okay.
I don't think Sean's logic can really be argued with. He makes a good point. Personally, I don't want it, and I'm glad it's not there.
It's not even that I'd want it or don't want it. It's that it doesn't bother me that it's not there at this point.
Yeah.
But
what I would like is like a global chat channel or something when you're outside of the game, like a lobby.
Yeah, a lobby would be nice. That'd be very cool.
You get in Heroes of the Storm right now, and it's nothing fancy, but there's just a chat channel, and it just makes you feel like, oh, hey, there's a community here.
Yeah, that's true. Hearthstone does feel a little bit individual, segregated kind of.
Right. Obviously, it feels very community-oriented for us because of what we do, but I feel like if I wasn't doing this show and I was just kind of playing the game in a vacuum, it would feel very antisocial.
It is true. If you're not coming from, we are a little more involved in stuff, and there's a lot of people on my friends list and all that kind of stuff. So our experience is not typical, obviously. And to someone who's just logging in to play the game, doesn't know anybody else, they may want to have that option just to meet more people who play the game. And so for that reason, I'm definitely not against putting this in. And if it made sense, and if Blizzard decides one day that it makes sense, I don't see why they wouldn't.
Yeah. Go Modern in the chat room also says, with so many players, I think it would be too chaotic for a lobby, which is a really good point. We mentioned earlier there's 20 million players. That's a lot of people.
Also region locked.
Region, I guess,
regions and stuff. I don't think they're all on at the same time. I think it would be okay. And you could also do things like a trade chat, a social kind of chat,
or channels,
pro talk chat, and
they have in Heroes, which is going to have a ton of players once more people get in. They've had it in StarCraft from day one, which has had massive peaks of players.
They have it in WoW.
They have it in WoW, but in WoW it's sectioned off by zone.
Yeah, yeah.
And the guild we're in had to have someone build a custom add-on so that we can all talk to each other because there's so many of us.
Yeah. But no, I don't think. Yes, there's a lot of players, but I don't think it would get so insane because people would section themselves off a little bit. Just kind of how it works.
Exactly. I personally don't really chat all that much in chat channels. Although now in Heroes, I find myself doing that because we have a custom chat channel for AMove, which if you're playing in Heroes, by the way, it's /join space AMove TV. But it's
good to
great.
know.
it's awesome. Anywho, good email, Sean. Jocelyn,
good idea.
Who else wrote in this week?
The last email comes to us from Bob. He says, "Hey, Foul Fowls. Great podcast last week. I know Hearthstone news is kind of slow right now, but keep up the good work. So I'm putting on my Jocelyn hat because I want to make a counter argument, and I'm not going to lie, the hat smells like maple syrup and kindness."
Oh, man.
The maple syrup sounds delicious. I'm not sure what kindness smells like.
People are
Syrup,
asking.
essentially. Yeah.
People were asking, why don't more classes have weapons and spells, or how about neutral weapons and spells? The response could be because it forces each class to be played differently. If all classes had access to the same weapons and spells, decks would start feeling really similar and probably start getting stale. And quick, an RTS analogy for Garrett. What's so amazing about StarCraft? 3 balanced races all played differently. What happens when you give each race access to the same tech? You get Age of Empires 2. Age of Empires 2 was a fun game, but it ain't no StarCraft. Just saying. So what do you all think? From Iron Carbon. He says, P.S. I tried to think up a hockey and a baseball analogy, but I got nothing.
Yeah.
No, RTS was a great analogy.
It was, yeah. You knocked that one out of the park, sir. Slap shot into the net in the final period. Well done.
Here he comes to save the
Pulled
day.
the goalie. And I give it 10 out of 10.
Dills is our sports analogy savior.
It's a slam dunk.
Someone get this man a helmet that somehow combines the safety gear of
Garrett, you're
all
losing it.
5.
Garrett, you're losing. You said helmet. That was good, but then you started losing it.
No, I was just thinking of a helmet that somehow combined the safety equipment of like the 4 major sports that use helmets. And it looks like something from a Mad Max movie in my brain.
And
Anyways,
it smells like maple syrup and kindness.
Maple syrup is kindness.
That's what I'm saying.
It's
If
nature's
you're like, well, what
kindness.
does kindness smell like? It smells like maple syrup.
It is
So
nature
he basically
being-
said it smells like maple syrup and maple syrup is what he said.
Maple syrup is just nature being kind to my pancakes.
Oh, that's a
it.
good way to look at
That
it.
should be knitted onto something and then put up at my grandma's house.
Well, I'm proud to have inspired your grandmother's knitting habit. Anywho, I think Bob hit the nail on the head here of what I think is one of the most awesome things about Blizzard games is their asymmetrical balance. It was always something we talked a lot about on StarCast. You have 3 very distinct, very different races, and the game is more or less balanced. Yeah, things are not always perfect, but it's pretty damn impressive the percentages they're able to squeak out when you've got, in the case of Hearthstone, 9 different classes that play relatively differently. Granted, they have access to a large pool of cards that everyone can use, but it's I don't know. It gives it a lot of character, and is one of the reasons I'm personally drawn to Blizzard games.
Absolutely. I think WoW has actually kind of moved away from that a little bit because a lot of the classes now have things that do exactly what the other classes do. So I'm not necessarily all jazzed about every class should be able to do everything that every other class can do, but I would like to see certain things not be only handled by one class. Like the thing about like Flare and Hunter being the only class that can deal with secrets is a little bit strange to me. But outside of that, no, I don't want all classes to use weapons and all. I think we had talked previously about things like equipment. And like maybe a mage weapon would work differently for mages because it would be more of a spell-based weapon. Things like that.
I'm pretty sure this has come up like 4 separate times on the show at least.
Yeah, but it's definitely make a great case, Bob. So good job. I'm with you. Don't make all the classes homogenous ever.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep. And good luck in The Walking Dead.
Oh boy.
Careful. I haven't seen last night's yet. Careful.
Oh, Bob. Oh, you haven't watched it yet? Okay.
No.
Well, go watch it now.
This season is.
probably will.
I am all in on the show again. This season has restored my faith in The Walking Dead. It's so good so far.
Yeah, this is in 3 episodes. They basically done what they did in all of season 2.
Oh,
Wait, how did you watch it? It was the Giants game last night.
Oh no! After the Giants game was over, I watched it immediately. I can't miss it. I cannot miss that show. That's a show I cannot miss.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Coming next year, Garrett, Dills, and Jocelyn do a Walking Dead podcast.
Why not? Why not?
Anything we're into. Podcast. It happens.
The podcast, where we talk about podcasts.
The podcast.
What podcast did you watch this week? Did you listen to this week, dude? Well, I listened to Stuff You Should Know, so we're gonna do a recap episode about Stuff You Should Know podcast.
I love that podcast.
And it's great.
I learned about rogue
Yeah,
waves on the way to work this
any
morning.
other podcast. They just listen to our podcast because we tell everybody what happened in all podcasts. So.
Exactly. Time saver. God, that sounds like the most awful show ever. Anywho, wonderful emails this week. Again, you can send your emails to tacpodcast@gmail.com as well as your crazy game stories. Please mark them as crazy game stories. And I think that'll do it for this week's episode. As always, want to thank those of you who are supporting us over on patreon.com/TAC. This week we wanted to thank Mark, Neil C., just SSP is what this person wrote as their name. So you go, sir, or madam. Crispy and Roddy, thank you all very much for being patrons of the Angry Chicken. We really appreciate it. And also those of you who are dropping reviews over on iTunes or whatever podcast catcher you happen to use this week from the iTunes store in North America. We wanted to thank, or sorry, the U.S., because there's a Canadian store. Thanks to Dan, who surrounded his name by tildes, or with tildes. Thank you to Daxman.
That's tilde Dan tilde. Yeah.
There you go. There you go. Computer Science Jedi, or Comp Sci Jedi, and Nini Wah, which I'm assuming is making fun of one of my least favorite professional StarCraft players ever, and I really appreciate that. And Ben Giudice is how I'm choose to pronounce that. So thank you all very much for your iTunes reviews. As always, The Angry Chicken is a production of amove.tv and the Frog Pants Studios. Our email, once again, is tacpodcast@gmail.com. Check out the live shows and other videos that can be found over on youtube.com/StarcastShow, like the after show. If you want to get it the same day as the podcast, you got to be a patron. But week after, I just throw them up for everyone. So check out youtube.com/StarcastShow. Our Angry Chicken t-shirt is available on slashloot.com. Jocelyn, is the Extra Life shirt still available? Or the Extra Life code still work also?
The code is going to work until the end of October.
All
so
right.
that gets you $3 off. The Extra Life t-shirt, the TGI t-shirt, the Angry Chicken t-shirt, Torn Think Tank, and Azeroth Roundtable. And it also donates to the cause. So
Awesome. What is the code, by the way?
Extra Life 2014.
Awesome. If you use the code Extra Life 2014, get $3 off our shirt over on Slashloot. Or the awesome like TGI Extra Life shirt.
Dude, that shirt is amazing.
Yeah, I don't know who designed it, but it looks really dope. I heard the designer smells kind of funny. He's a bit of an ass, but it's a good looking shirt.
He's got great hair though.
Follow us on Twitter at TAC Podcast. Catch us live every Monday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Time on twitch.tv/AMoveTV or over on alphageekradio.com for the mobile stream. And check out briangriffithmusic.com for the musician who made our intro music. Dills, where can folks find you other than like in a gutter outside the San Francisco stadium because you're losing your mind?
Well, I'm not doing that, Garrett. I'm being much more responsible about my Giants watching habits. It's generally not in the gutter, but it is in a bar, sometimes face down when we lose, most of the time screaming and yelling because we're winning. We're up 3-2. Just one more, baby.
That's much better.
Yep, tomorrow, that's right. But actually right now you can't really find me most places because I'm shirking all responsibilities in favor of watching baseball. So I apologize for the fact there was no article this week. There was just a lot of things that you guys are lucky I'm even here right now because most of my day is work has been suffering. I've been doing the best I can, but most things in my life I have fallen short. Thank God this happened in the middle of the month. I probably wouldn't pay rent. I mean, everything would have gone haywire. So, yeah, pretty much that. Oh, and the Instance and Torchcast and Mediocast. And by the way, we will be at BlizzCon, but right after that, that's the MGA World Championship. So I'm going to be having another insane time at the beginning of November there. So
you make me wish I cared about like any
other stuff.
There are a few things in this world I get as excited about as you do for the Giants in the World Series. One of them is the New York Giants beating the Patriots in a Super Bowl. That always just makes me run up the wall. But yeah, other than
that doesn't happen very often. Though,
no. Well, actually, twice in the last 5 years.
It happened twice.
Twice in the last
That's pretty
5 years.
good.
And they robbed them of a perfect season, which is
the most important
awesome.
thing.
The greatest thing ever.
So that's not bad.
Gave Eli more rings than his brother, which is also
yeah.
good because my fiance prefers the other Manning, so I get to call him the inferior Manning, and she can't argue it.
Oh no! Wait! Katie likes Peyton.
Yes.
Oh, I think she's my soulmate.
Well, not her favorite by any means, but of the two Mannings, she's just like, well, he's the superior one. I'm like, well, no, actually, because math. So Eli is the superior Manning. And that's that. But other than that, it's really BlizzCon and Star Wars and Green Day are the three things that get me as excited as you during the World Series when the Giants are in it, Dills.
By the way, we didn't even talk about this. Metallica is going to play at BlizzCon.
There's a reason we didn't talk about that, Dills.
You don't like Metallica?
I can't stand Metallica.
Why? They're good, man. They're from San Francisco. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah,
I think Lars Ulrich is the worst thing that happened to music.
Oh no,
since,
as a person,
Kesha.
he's pretty crappy. But as a band, they have a lot of amazing songs.
I can't do it, man. I can't do it.
I'm excited to see them.
I have a lot of respect for Kirk Hammett, but other than that, I can't do Metallica, man. I can't.
That's okay.
Sorry.
Not everyone is into everything. It's fine.
I can't. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'll be skipping all the lines, playing all the demos I want to, because there will be no lines during Metallica.
That's true. Everyone will be there.
And I'll probably be hanging out at the Hearthstone booth during Metallica.
Yeah.
So
I'm not weighing in on this.
Why? You have support from someone on the show for a change.
Yeah, one of us is going to agree with you.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
I
mean, honestly, it doesn't. I don't need you guys to like Metallica for me to like Metallica. You know,
that's true. And last week on the after show, Jocelyn, we brought up the subject of guilty pleasures and how we don't really think it should be a thing. If you like a thing, you should like the damn thing. You should be proud that you like the thing, and no one's opinion of how much they think a certain thing might not be as cool as you think it is should sway your opinion.
Exactly. Like the chat room found out at the end of Extra Life when I needed to be happy and excited that I really like club and dance music, and I played it for them for like 3 hours, and that's just the way it is.
You go. There ain't nothing wrong with that. I
owned it.
I've been catching a lot of flack on Twitter this week because I have openly stated that I'm a huge fan of Lady Gaga, yet I cannot stand Metallica. So whatever.
Happens.
Well, I don't think if you like Lady Gaga, you're more likely to like Metallica. It doesn't surprise me that you like Lady Gaga, but somehow don't like Metallica.
Well, no,
wait, you like Lady Gaga, but you don't like Metallica?
Well, because most people when they're listening to me mouth off about music, they're like, "Well, Garrett likes punk and ska and pop punk and some hardcore."
But I don't think I've ever heard you talk about metal. So
No.
I like hardcore. I like metal. I like all that kind of stuff too. So Metallica was, to me, when I was growing up, that was like this was before you knew that Lars Ulrich wanted everyone's money all the time. And yeah, obviously I didn't agree with him on that, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that I suddenly dislike some songs that I think are amazing. So I'm definitely going to go check Metallica out.
The episode of South Park with Lars Ulrich's Solid Gold Shark Tank pretty much sums up my opinion of Metallica as a unit. So go check that out.
I actually have a friend who used to be his nanny. So she
really?
Actually knows. Yeah, she knew Lars. Yeah, and
she did not spank him hard enough, apparently. Like
no, not him. Like for his kids.
Oh, for his kids. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What to say?
All right. It turns out he's kind of a douchebag in real life. So.
What a surprise!
Yeah, it's all right though. Good drummer, amazing songwriter. Douchebag. It happens.
Jocelyn
sounds like a business card.
Oh my god. This is such a spiral. Jocelyn, where can folks find you when you're not avoiding musical conversation?
Best place to find me and everything I'm doing is over on Twitter, where I'm GIS Gamer. We have the Gamers In right here on AMove TV every Friday night. We finished up our Extra Life stream. That was last weekend. Donations are still open until the end of December. We did pretty well. We haven't hit our goal yet, but we had a really good time. I raised more money than I did last year personally. So overall, it was pretty successful, and it was definitely fun. So
and people can still support you, right?
They can.
What is it? bit.ly/TGI 2014, all caps on TGI?
Yes. Exactly. See, I don't even have to pimp stuff. You just do it for me. It's great.
after like tweeting about the stream multiple times on Saturday, it like bore itself into my memory.
Yeah, it was really, really great. I have all of the videos saved locally, so I just have to do a whole bunch of uploading to YouTube, but there were some really great moments. I mean, we had us playing Heroes with Scott, which was fantastic. Dills and I played some Hearthstone. We played Cards Against Humanity, and the amount of like, the amount of things that I said that I'm really upset that are recorded. Little sound bites are going to be ridiculous. Trying to think what else. Oh man, Portal 2, that we kicked off the day with Portal 2, and that was really, really fun. It's always fun. So yeah, just the amount of stuff we did was freaking awesome. So check it out and donate if you haven't. And even if you can't donate, then just share the link around because you never know who can and just doesn't know about it. So overall, I think they raised the current count is 5.4 million. So really, really successful year.
Dope. I'm very glad that the stream was able to be part of that. So
oh yes, and thank you guys, both of you, for donating your time, and Garrett for donating the stream. Like, it just means so much to be so supported. You guys are great.
we had a lot of fun. It was totally worth it. You can follow me on Twitter at GarrettArt. I'm also over at nomoonart.com. That's my graphic design portfolio. If you need a graphic designer, go check it out. And also check out Into the Nexus, the Heroes of the Storm podcast I do with Kyle. We'll be recording an episode at an undisclosed time this week so that we don't miss 2 weeks, because I found out I was going to be out of town this Thursday, and then next Thursday I'll be at Disneyland, and I kind of forgot about that. So, hey, life. It's hard to plan sometimes. So,
Are you guys doing ITN at BlizzCon?
no, Kyle's not going.
Oh yeah, Kyle's not going. Right.
Yeah, he just moved.
Lame.
And I still don't know if we have media passes. So, yeah. Anywho, there's that. Hope you enjoyed this episode of The Angry Chicken. Keep listening to Metallica. And if you do, only say yeah at BlizzCon instead of yes. So enjoy that. Job's done.
Job's done.
Job's done.
Yes, yes, yes.
I set you up and you didn't do it. Oh,
Sorry.
yeah.
Not doing it.